Hello, friends. Welcome to your Facebook field trip. We're so glad that you're here today. Let me get a few waves or thumbs up or hi there, how are you? So I'd just like to make sure you guys can see us and hear us. Oh, good. There we are. Welcome, friends. I'm Erica from the marketing department. I'm all maxed up. It's the very new must-have fashion accessory. I have tied it differently this time, which I'm hoping means I can breathe better. We need to thank our amazing volunteers who've been fast and furious making these masks to keep our zoo staff safe. Look at the difference in this water. This is what happens when our dive team comes down to clean out the polar bear pool. They vacuum things out and it kind of stirs everything up. So it's a little bit cloudy here because they just dove, and then you can see Big Boy swimming here over in the corner. So let me introduce you to our zany cast of characters for today's field trip. You guys know cute Hannah, marketing department. Here's cute Melanie. She's one of our animal keepers we'll be talking to. Now, I'd like you to know who you're talking to because everybody's masked up. This is what Melanie really looks like. She joined us once on Channel 4 with that little guy, Pablo. Are we going to meet Pablo today?
We are going to meet Pablo today.
We might have a Pablo sighting. And then off in the distance, there's Megan. This is what she normally looks like. There's Megan with one of our opossums. Another critter that we might meet. So let's have Melanie step on in. Mel, what you got for us today? We'll step on over here.
You posted photos.
Back to Facebook and rotate it. I had a text pop up. I'm so sorry. All right, Melanie, what makes a mammal a mammal?
Back on. So there are 5 things that we're going to talk about that makes a mammal a mammal. And the first big thing that I think everybody knows is that they have hair or fur.
I picture hair, absolutely.
Yes. So we're mammals as humans, and we have hair all over the tops of our heads and the rest of our bodies. And so do these mammals that I have here today. So this is
my goodness.
Turbo.
Okay, first of all, I thought he was fake.
She is very much real. This is Turbo. She is a Madagascar hedgehog, lesser hedgehog Tenrec. And most people are probably seeing her right now and saying, oh my gosh, it's a hedgehog, it's a hedgehog. It is not a hedgehog. They're actually not related to hedgehogs. They're more related to moles and shrews. So you can see that in her little face right here.
Okay,
You're going to pick her up,
okay.
And you just get wherever you need to get.
Oh my goodness. So you can see the hair on her little snout area, but it doesn't look like hair on her back.
So it does not. Those are quills. So just like a hedgehog has
Can we
quills,
touch? Can I touch
you
or no?
can,
If I do 2 finger?
Yep, just down her spines there. Down
Oh, so they're kind of prickly.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, you guys. That is so cool.
Yeah, and so these are actually just modified hairs. So just like our hairs and our nails are made of keratin, so are those little quills. And I brought with me something else that a lot of you guys might recognize. This is an African-crested porcupine quill, and it's actually made out of the same materials that Turbo's quills are made out of. Same as keratin, these are hollow on the inside, so hers are as well. And they use these for protection, but they are basically just modified hairs.
So keratin's interesting because that's also what a rhino horn's made out of, and so that's basically hair and nails.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Can I touch one?
Yep.
So if you guys are having some video connections, you can try popping out and then popping back in. The microphone might be rubbing because we're trying to wear our masks. So I'm just kind of adjusting because everyone really wants to hear what you're saying. Is it Melanie's?
Is it me?
Let's clip yours like down here on this little folded fabric maybe. There we go. Give us just a second. We'll get her like re-mic'd up. There we go. Upside down. There we go.
There.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Hopefully that's better. So with her hair and fur, it's mostly on her belly that you guys will recognize as all that hair that she has there.
Okay. Does she like that? She's like,
not so much. Tickles. Yeah, she doesn't really love having her belly touched very much. These guys don't like to be touched a ton. She's actually just waking up from torpor, which is kind of like a wintertime hibernation for these guys. So she's still pretty sleepy.
So she's a little sluggish.
Yep, she's going to wake up. We'll put her back in here.
Somebody loves your little travel tote, by the way, Mel.
Yes.
This is adorable. Now, Cassandra has a good question that I think ties in with mammals. She wondered how many babies they can have at one time.
Yeah, they can have a few babies at a time. So that is another characteristic of mammals is they have live babies. Now, there are 2 exceptions to that. I made myself a little list and I put a little asterisk next to it. because there are two exceptions, and that's a platypus and echidnas. They actually lay eggs. But every other mammal, they will lay, or they will have live babies. So they don't come out of an egg just like a human baby. It comes out as basically a miniature human.
So
do these
Turbo
guys.
the Tenrec, not hedgehog, but
Nope.
related to.
Related to moles and shrews, so not related to a
Okay.
hedgehog at all, actually.
Okay.
But they do look very similar, so that's usually what a lot of people say first thing. But yeah, she can have quite a few little babies here and there. They can have anywhere from 2 up to about 8 to 10 babies.
How about that? Okay, so what's next? You guys, that's Tenrec. We're talking about mammals today.
Yep.
If you're just joining us, we're chatting with Mel. We're talking mammals. And if you've been enjoying our Facebook field trips, go ahead and click that little donate button for us. Thank you, Nancy. I noticed that you did. These Facebook field trips live on our page forever, really. And you can also catch them on YouTube as well. Now, Claire wants to know what they eat, the Tenrec.
Yep, Tenrecs are insectivores. So they are going to mostly eat insects as well as some fruits and veggies. Here at the zoo, we feed them mealworms, crickets, as well as a little insectivore pellet diet. And then they also get some fruits, veggies, and maybe some hard-boiled egg every once in a while. So they eat a wide variety of things.
She kind of is enjoying her seaside home here, and
Yep.
I think the sea lions have enjoyed having a little visual enrichment here as well.
Yep.
Okay, what mammal
All right,
is next?
So our next mammal is going to be one that a lot of you guys are going to recognize. He was a huge superstar in one of our latest Facebook Lives.
Okay. Oh, we're having Hannah. We're doing a little crossover action here. Trying to
Oh
keep
my
our
goodness.
distance like you guys and trying to wear our masks. Oh, we know this
Yep.
guy.
So this is Pablo. He's our 3-banded armadillo.
Now, I don't think mammal when I see Pablo.
Most people don't. I have actually had numerous people ask me what type of reptile this is. He is not a reptile at all. He is a mammal. And even though he's covered in this hard shell on the outside, he does have some tiny little hairs that are very coarse. I don't know if you can
Yeah, oh
zoom
yeah,
in
we
on
get
those
a
and
good
see
shot
those.
of those. I feel a little intrusive. I feel like I'm a little up in his business.
He is used to that very much.
Is he?
He loves having the company.
So he does have the hair, but the hard shell is interesting.
Yep, and again, same thing as the quills, made out of keratin. So the same thing that your hair and nails are made out of is what is on his shell. So it's still really hard. He can feel everything in his shell,
Can he?
just as a tortoise can.
People are saying, tell Pablo we love him.
Oh, everybody loves
Can we
Pablo.
touch on the back?
We can just right here.
Okay, just right here.
Yep.
Okay. Because they
That's
can
the fall down.
pinch down in there, right?
Yes, that's his defense mechanism. So he has 2 spots where he's going to pinch. One is going to be these 3 bands. And those 3 bands are, if an animal comes up and sniffs on his back, he will pop open and then pinch whatever is there. And then the
Wow.
opposite is true for this here. He can close up into a complete ball, into a very tight ball. So if something goes in there, he will actually grab that with his cool little toes, pull it in, and
Gotta
pinch really hard.
See those little toes.
And these guys are from South America. There is actually only one animal besides humans that can crack this shell open. So you guys know that. South American
Okay.
animals can crack open this outer shell. Put it on that Facebook Live.
Okay. We're going to let him.
So we talked about having hair or fur, and then we also talked about having live babies. So these guys will also have live babies.
He likes your shoe. Every
He
time I
loves
see
shoes,
you with
yes.
Pablo.
Pablo loves shoes.
So I want to chime in before you go on. Amber, she's watching and she's visually impaired. So Amber, we're talking about an armadillo, a 3-banded armadillo that can roll up and look just like a tight little ball, and he has kind of a hard shell on the outside, but he's a mammal. So we're comparing all the mammals. So tell us more about him and why he likes your shoes so
So
much.
kind of similar to what we just talked about with live babies, all mammal babies, when they are born, drink milk. So that is the 3rd quality of what makes a mammal a mammal. There are 2 more that we're going to talk about.
Tiffany,
One
the
more.
audio is scratchy. We're wearing masks, and it's kind of a tricky building, but we'll just keep plugging along. You can watch these later when they buffer better on YouTube as well.
Yep.
Okay, so one more. I don't want to, he's tricky. He moves so
Yeah,
fast.
he moves very quickly.
A couple questions about Pablo. Are the babies born with shells?
So, kind of. Yes. They are born with those shells, but they're not as hard as an adult shell. So his shell is extremely hard. Actually, fun fact, the nine-banded armadillo is related. You can find those here in the United States. A man in Texas actually shot a nine-banded armadillo where they are considered
Pests, yes.
bullet actually ricocheted off of the shell and went back to shot the man.
Oh gosh, really?
So that tells you
goodness.
how hard they are.
Now, here's a good question that we get often is, are they good pets?
They are not good pets. So pretty much none of the animals that we have here make really good pets. The Tenrec, some people in the UK actually have them as pets, but they're kind of difficult to care for. Like I mentioned before, they have a really specialized diet. Our Pablo friend here, they are very dirty. They need a lot of space. They smell. He also is an insectivore, so he needs a specialized diet as well. And then our third critter here.
I do need to say, Amber made a funny comment that said, this is what we'll all look like when we get out of quarantine.
Pretty much. I think that's how we're all feeling right now. That's pretty much how we're feeling.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay, let's move on.
So our last animal that we have here, we'll just let Pablo run around. So if you see him in the background, he's going to do his thing. It's pretty much all the time. He'll pass out for about a half hour at a time, and then he'll wake back up and do it all over again. So we have two more qualities of mammals that we need to get through. One is they are all endotherms, aka warm-blooded. So you might have heard the term warm-blooded before. Endotherms, they don't have to rely on any external temperatures to have their internal temperature. So as humans, ours is always 98.6 degrees. Inside, doesn't matter how hot or cold it is outside. We don't rely on the sun to warm the insides of our bodies.
And we know that our crocodiles do, because
Yes.
when they come out in the summer, they just sit there with their big old mouth open. letting that sun bake
Exactly.
the inside
So
of their mouth.
reptiles, amphibians, they are all exotherms. So they rely on the outside temperature in order to regulate their body temperature. So you'll see reptiles out basking in the sun. That's because they're trying to warm up. When they need to cool down, they'll go out into the shade. Our last quality of a mammal is that they have more complex brains than any other group of animals. So, you know, we're all pretty smart here, as are the rest of
We
the
like to
mammals.
think so.
Yeah. So those are the 5 qualities that we went through. If you're just joining us, they were that we are all endotherms or warm-blooded. We have complex brains. We give live birth. Babies drink milk. And they all have hair or fur on their bodies. So our last animal that we're going to show here is Ophelia, our opossum. And I'm going to hand this mic over to Megan. And she's going to talk to you guys about opossums.
Let me hand the mic over here. My microphone isn't getting any better. The mic issues are always a little bit of a challenge. We still have Pablo running around. And we're going to mic up Megan over here and look at this cutie.
Hey guys, can you hear me all right?
Give us a thumbs up. I hope you guys can hear. We've checked all of the mic connections, so let me know if it's my mic, Erica's, or Megan's mic, and I'll try to get the receiver out of the way as well. Okay.
So, this is Ophelia. She is a Virginia opossum, and as you can see, her body is covered in fur. And that's generally what we think of as the main characteristics of mammals, right? Just covered in that fur. And if you'll notice, she's got all of these modified hairs on her face, just like a dog and a cat. And yeah, exactly. Those are called whiskers. And they are especially useful when maybe you spend a lot of time in the dark, like opossums. They're often, they'll be nocturnal and explore at night. And it helps her. They're super sensitive, not necessarily the hairs themselves, but the hair follicles are super sensitive, and she can sense things in front of her face before she accidentally bumps into them.
Before she bumps into it.
Yeah,
How about
exactly.
that?
Now, for a predator like a cat, those whiskers become really handy for hunting. They, as a mouse or something gets closer, they can sense where exactly that mouse is and use that to help their cat-like reflexes to catch that prey item. as you'll notice, she is hairless on her tail, so she almost kind of looks like a giant rat, doesn't she? She's not a rodent of unusual size.
R-U-S. Oh, Pablo's still down there. I better watch my step,
watch
little
your
guy.
She is actually a marsupial, which is a very special kind of mammal that has a pouch. And we might be able to kind of show that off for you. We'll try here.
Okay, what are we feeding her?
We are feeding her little leaf eater biscuits, yogurt. They are
Okay, so we're going to
omnivores.
try to see her pouch,
see
you
if we
guys. And then, Heather, we're going to answer that question because that's the most important question about these creatures. Okay, let's see. She
Okay.
doesn't like it, huh?
Oh, all right. We won't pressure it.
Stephanie said I had no idea that I needed to see an opossum eat today, but I totally
Right?
did.
Oh, they have these adorable
Watch out for Pablo.
smacking mouths while they eat.
Let's step this way and see if we can get her face a little better. All right, so
Yeah.
here's the million-dollar question. Is it possum or opossum?
It is opossum.
Did you guys hear that? Opossum. Tell us the difference.
Okay, so possum is actually a marsupial found in Australia. Opossum comes from the word opossum.
You're getting real technical
It's
here,
a Native
Megan.
American word. So opossums is the correct term for the possums found in North America.
So same animal, different location.
Not same animal. They're totally different animals. Opossums are actually the only marsupial found in the United States. So, and they live so far apart, they just kind of drifted apart evolutionarily.
Huh.
Possums and opossums.
We have some great questions coming in. First of all, Ophelia is winning over the hearts of everybody. They say, can she be live every day? Like,
Right?
what are you guys doing?
Right?
Why aren't we seeing
Eat, the chomping sound is
Yeah.
pretty adorable.
Why do we like it in animals? Yeah.
The eating on the microphone.
There you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Let's try it. Let's see if I can get. You guys, I gotta get my mic real close and see if you can hear her. Yeah, I don't want to. Can you hear? It's funny we like chewing sounds in animals, but not our spouses and not
yeah, not in
anybody
people.
else. Only animals. Is it cute? Okay, so let's talk about their eyesight in the daytime. You talked about they do a lot of nighttime, and those whiskers help. How's their eyesight?
Their eyesight is not super great. You notice she's got beady eyes, just round and black. They're not super big, so she can't really see very well. And those whiskers help in that sense as well. But they don't really need super great eyesight during the day anyway, because they're often napping.
Her
which is-
pigtails are my favorite. Is that those? Are they not adorable? Are you napping? Oh, you want to get closer? Here, get your little snout right up there. Let's give everyone a real good view of you.
Oh, good shake.
Hey, we've had some people donating. I do want to say thank you. You can hit that donate button. We really need the support right now at the zoo. It's hard when we're closed. It's hard to feed and take care of the animals. So if you are able to, we know it's a tricky time, but go ahead and hit your donate button, and thank you so much for supporting your zoo. There's other ways to support the zoo too. You can go to our website, hoglezoo.org. You can buy tickets now that you'll use later. We have amazing animal art, all sorts of stuff there. Okay, more great questions coming in. Robbie wants to know, does she hang from her tail like you see in cartoons?
Excellent question. So they're like semi-prehensile, and that prehensile word means that they can grip things with their tail, like you often see in a lot of South American primates. She doesn't really have a lot of dexterity in this tail. When they're younger, they have a little bit more dexterity, and they can kind of catch themselves on branches, prevent themselves from falling down. And every once in a while, she'll wrap it around my hand to kind of like hold on, especially if I'm holding her. But it won't necessarily support her whole weight, so it's not totally prehensile.
Everyone's going, Pablo! Like they get little glimmers of Pablo in the background. Now, her tail kind of looks like a snake almost.
It
like
does.
the
She's
same
almost
skin.
got like scales on her tail.
She's
but
being
that's-
bashful now. There we
just
go.
like-
There's a good view of her tail.
Yeah, it's just her skin though, not necessarily true scales either.
Yeah. All right, do you guys have more? My kids want to know how big opossums get and how fast they can run.
So the girls get just about this big. Boys can get a little bit bigger than this, but not too much bigger. Around the size of, I would say, an average house cat.
How long do they live?
How long do they live? Good question,
They
Mel.
only live around 2 to 3 years. In the wild, it's
Wait,
more,
2 to 3 years?
Yeah, they live a super short lifespan.
So at 3, they're a senior.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
my goodness.
absolutely. In fact, this girl, I think she's only, what, a year old? Yeah. And
Why
she's
such
middle-aged.
a short lifespan?
Because they reproduce super fast with lots and lots of babies. Yes.
How many babies do they have at any given time?
They have around 13.
Millie's getting excited over there. There we go. We're nerd. Oh, that's Chris in the background, by the way. I did not print up a picture of Chris. I didn't know he would be joining us. So.
They can have around 13 per litter. And the cool
13?
thing is, yes, and they have a very, very short gestation, like one of the shortest mammals. Sorry, let me start over. They have a very short pregnancy. So they'll only be pregnant for, I think it was something like a week. It was very shocking to me.
Oh, my
And they
goodness.
come out super, super tiny. And that's the necessity of the pouch. That's where that comes in. That's why animals like kangaroos and koalas, that's why they have a pouch, because they have such tiny young that they need someplace else where they can grow up, get this fur, this protection.
Can 13 babies fit in their pouch?
Absolutely. When they're that tiny,
Oh
they
my
absolutely
goodness.
can. And when they get too big for that, the pouch can expand a little bit, but they'll eventually crawl on her back and they'll all hang on. I don't know if you can see her hands, but she's got almost human-like hands. They're great for grabbing onto things, and they'll grab onto their mom's fur, and she'll just give them a big old piggyback ride. And while she's got babies on the back, she can have more babies in the pouch and in her belly.
Oh, my.
It's about less than 30 days for gestation for these guys. So it's less than a month. Babies are done, in the pouch, already grown up.
So,
And they have 13 teeth.
13 teats on a mama opossum. There's your fact of the day, people.
Odd number.
That is unusual, 13. So in case you couldn't hear Mel, their gestation is super quick. It's like less than a month from, being pregnant to having 13 kids. So I need all the moms trying to homeschool right now to imagine a week
Right.
from now, a month from now, suddenly having 13 extra babies around.
The good news is they also hop off pretty quickly. They'll start leaving the mom once they're weaned. In fact, as soon as they're out of the pouch, they're pretty much weaned, and they'll start eating whatever mom is eating. So she goes through them pretty quick, and it's just a different kind of method of getting babies out there in the world. Us humans and some other types of mammals live a really long time, but we have babies only every couple of years.
Yeah.
These guys, since they live so short lives, they gotta pump out those kids.
That is so crazy. So more great questions about, people are wondering how the babies get in the pouch. Does mom have to help them? Or
They
how does
crawl
that work?
on their own. So they go from where they're born, they crawl all the way up into the pouch, and they latch onto one of those 13 teats.
That is amazing. What are their babies called?
Oh, good question.
Someone wondered if they were called Joeys.
You know what? They are called Joeys because they're marsupials. That's right.
Okay. And then, one of our favorite questions that we like to ask here on Facebook Live is, what sound does an opossum make, Megan?
They usually make like a hissing sound, so like a. I can't even make it.
Yay! Thumbs up for Megan.
Oh gosh.
And Mel, do you want to give Pablo? What sound does he make?
I have only heard Pablo make noise one time. And it was when he was in the car with me. We were actually coming back from the news studio. And I think the car ride, he got a little car sick, and they literally sound like a squealing pig. So it was very quiet in my car. When we're driving with the animals, I always have my radio down and make sure that I'm fully attentive to them. And we stopped at a light, and all of a sudden I just heard a little wheat. And that was
it.
Yep, that's it. They
That
don't
was the
really make
extent.
much else noise. And same with the Tenrecs. They don't make any noise either.
That was pretty good, you guys. Thumbs up for Mel and Megan on their animal noises. It's become everybody's favorite Facebook field trip question. Pablo does look like he's in a video game. That's actually true. People are Pablo has always been a favorite, but we're kind of introducing Ophelia for the first time. This is her first, her big Facebook debut.
Yep, they're very new to the zoo, and they've quickly become one of my favorites. So my plan is to make them everybody else's favorite as well.
All right, you heard her devious plot. Pablo, we had Ophelia. Now, Ophelia has an opossum friend, Olive. Olive's here as well. The difference is on their little ears. So Ophelia's got little white spots on her ears, but Olive's, her little ears are black, and they live in small animal building. And yes, Dee, Ophelia is beautiful. So we've been comparing and contrasting all the kinds of mammals. From the little Tenrec over here, we'll just give you another little peek at that cutie. Who names the babies? It depends. Sometimes the keepers get to. Sometimes we have generous donors who are given the opportunity. Sometimes we do naming contests. And then sometimes they come from the zoo they come from has already named them. So opossums are just winning the day. They say, let them rule the world. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know. They'll outnumber us here real quick if we do that. It's everybody's new favorite animal. So Megan, you might have won.
Woo!
But Pablo is always the king. And then, of course, we've been talking mammals, and we can't forget these gorgeous marine mammals swimming behind us, because I think we often forget that they're hairy, too, because in the water they look so slick. Thank you, Mindy, for donating. You guys, thank you so much for supporting your zoo. Do remember that we are closed right now. Summer, this is an opossum. We have Pablo, the armadillo. We have a Tenrec and marine mammals. So it's all about mammals today. And Ophelia seems to be winning the prize. She's getting lots of hearts. Good job on your Facebook debut. Thank you for being patient with us while we practice our distancing and wearing our mask. Thank you for the sound issues and letting us know what you can hear and can't hear. All of our Facebook field trips live on the Facebook page. You can scroll back and watch those. They live there forever. You can also go to our YouTube page. We have a channel there, Utah's Hogle Zoo. All of the Facebook field trips are there. So if you have a student or someone who you think would love this, please feel free to share it. Don't forget to support your zoo right now while we're closed. You can do that in other ways, too. You can click this donate button or go to our website, hoglezoo.org. You can buy animal art. You can do lots of different things. So